Hello everyone and welcome back to another Kodaball review. This week we are reviewing a 2001 GMK XPlus Godzilla. GMK, if you're not aware, stands for Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. It happens to be my favorite Godzilla film, and I have yet to buy an XPlus. So when I finally wanted to make the dive, I wanted to make it on this figure because I love GMK that much. It's probably overall my favorite Godzilla film. I still rank it a bit higher than the King of the Monsters that just came out, which was pretty good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know why this has a very good place in my heart. You will notice that this review is a little bit different. I am making it so it doesn't sound like I'm like trying to eat the microphone or I'm like having an asthma attack because I'm so close. My normal reviewing, which is sort of the camera down looking, doesn't really work with a figure like this. Works very easily on that sort of 2D aspect for a lightsaber, but for a figure like this you can't really do that. So I'm holding the camera in my one hand, which is why it's a little shaky, and because my lighting is so shitty in my living room, I'm trying to light it up a bit with this LED flashlight so we can look at the finer details. So if we look at the box here, you see it's an XPlus. It's the 30 centimeter series. 30 centimeters transfers over into 11.81 inches. So there it says Japanese about the Giant Monsters All Out Attack. This is not a Rick Boy. The sculptor is Yuji Sakai. The Rick Boy figure has the translucent dorsal plates that light up blue. That's cool and all, but I don't think it's really, like another $100 cool. So I figured I'd just go for the standard version. I'm perfectly happy. This is a reissue. This isn't the at least I'm almost pretty sure it's like the Diamond reissue. But once again, I don't know all the details about XPlus, so I could be wrong, and feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments. I always look forward to those. I haven't got one yet, but I look forward to them. So if we look a little bit closer, the one thing I always felt about XPlus figures is I'm spending a bunch of money on practically a piece of hollow plastic. And so that sort of turned me off from it for a while. But after seeing King of the Monsters, I really wanted something a bit, on the bigger side to represent Godzilla in my collection. I've always been a big Godzilla fan since I was a kid. Started with Godzilla vs. Megalon, which is one of the really corny ones. But it has a pretty good place in my heart. Right now, I'm really only repping with some Bandai figures, and I have these cool posters on my wall, which I got from Gore Store on eBay. Really awesome price. Those posters were about $8 each, and I think 11 by 17 is like the perfect kind of dimensions for a display piece or a display poster, and look really nice in that in the black frame. But anyway, back to the figure. If we look at the figure, it does have this plastic stand on his tail to make him stand straight. If that's not there, his front feet go up a bit. Not really that noticeable, but I mean the stand doesn't really take that much away. I mean, if you're looking at it head on, it's going to be hidden behind this leg, so really not a big deal to me. If we start with his face, which I think has the most detail, you have those ghost white eyes, which are sort of the calling card for GMK. His mouth, I think, is where all the freaking detail is. So, let's see if we can get in there. So yeah, it's awesome. Even his teeth are sort of like that off-white, like he hasn't brushed them in a couple years kind of look. You get that with most people. But I think that's where, like, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this was money well spent. Once again, if we look at his skin, it's that sort of charcoal gray kind of color. And then his claws on both his hands and feet are that sort of off gray, off white, which sort of, matches the eyes, toes, hands. If we switch them around here, we can look at his dorsal plates. Like I said, if this was the Rick Boy, these plates would be translucent, so that blue LED light could come through. So really good amount of detail on the tail itself. Let's do more of a profile shot here. I mean, if you're a fan of GMK, you can't really go wrong with this figure. I mean, I think he has a really great pose. A lot of the figures, I always want my like statuettes and things of that nature, busts, to have some sort of pose that makes them stand out in my collection. A lot of the Heisei Godzillas, they're either standing still with their mouth open, or they're taking a step forward, which I'm all a fan for the Heisei Godzilla, but in my heart of hearts, GMK is where it's at. I don't know why. I don't know why I have such an infatuation with him, but it's just that's where my love is. I think the only downsides about this figure, and I think you'll hear this from any XPlus collector, that if we pull it around here, is right there. And if you've seen any videos before, Fresh Rhino Reviews always says you have to make the body squishy soft to get that tail in there, and you do. And I didn't have a hairdryer, so what I had to do was boil some water and pour it over that opening until it became soft enough to put the tail in, and it really was just a bitch to get in there. It was not fun. And I was afraid I was gonna like rip the vinyl, so I didn't want that to happen. But yeah, that was actually pretty good. A pretty good technique to get it in there, because most people use hair dryers. I don't have any hair, so I don't have a hair dryer. But that was probably the only downside. It was packed really, really securely. I was able to get this figure for $150 on eBay, which was a good price. Because I asked my Godzilla group if it was a good price. They said when it came out it was about $230. They said jump on it. I said okay, fine. I bought it. I bought it for $150. Seriously, 3 hours later, someone in the group said, "Oh, I have those on my website. I have them marked down right now. I have them marked down to $99, and with shipping it would have been $110." So I'm like, well, that sucks. And that just seems to be my luck with everything. So if you're interested in this figure right now, I would suggest you go to awesomecollector.com. They're having a spring sale, and this figure, he has a few available. So he has this figure available for $99 plus $10 shipping and handling. The owner of that site is called Jason Welling. He was actually really cool, because I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer. I could have saved $20. And he's like, oh, well, how about I give you $20 off another figure? Which was like, unheard of. So I have another XPlus coming. It is a Heisei Godzilla that was also part of that sale, so I might be reviewing him later in the week. Overall, really, really awesome figure. I mean, I really can't express enough how hesitant I was to buy this figure, and then now that I finally got it, it's just, I love everything about it. The detail is just so immaculate. I mean, it really, right down to like, just the texture and the tree bark and everything else, the tree bark of the skin. I mean, you know what I mean. It's just fantastic. If you have any questions, as I say in all my videos, I try to be as active as possible on my page. If I don't get back to you in a couple days, it's because my app didn't say, hey, you have a new comment. So if you like this video, feel free to. If you'd like to subscribe, please feel free to. I always like to review these kind of things when I get them in. I know there's a lot of collectors out there that, like me, go to YouTube and sort of look up videos to see if things are worth it. I will say that this is definitely worth it. And if you can jump on that sale price at awesomecollector.com, that's probably your best bet to get this at a really, really great price. So, once again, if you have any questions, please put them down below. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. And that is the end of this review. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.